Good morning and welcome to the Lower DuPage River Watershed Coalition member meeting for September. I'm going to jump right in. So we have our agenda, which pretty much mirrors what I sent out in the meeting packet. Really just a series of updates and information about our fall and winter outreach items. The first step is to approve our meeting minutes from our May meeting. So we did not hold a July meeting this year, but we did have our May, so we didn't approve our May meeting minutes yet. So if we have any comments about the minutes, you can put them into the Q&A. Otherwise, if I can get someone to raise their hand to make a motion to approve the minutes. I got motion by Andy Hawkins and seconded by Ken Carroll. I'm just taking some notes here. Launch the poll. So please just click your answer, hit submit. All right. Thank you. So just some quick updates with our nutrient implementation plan. Things are moving forward. A number of things have been sort of in a holding pattern as we were completing the peer review for the IPS model. That peer review has been done. Those comments have been worked into the technical document for the IPS model. So MBI has been working on that. And then MBI has turned over a technical document for review, and that's something that Stephen McCracken and myself have been going through that document. And so that's where that is sitting right now as far as the model goes. As soon as we get through the review and any comments that we have on it, we will have kind of a final product out there and eventually have some access to that data through our website. With that step, with that peer review completed, the nutrient trading program kind of side of things was able to get started again. And so we had intended on holding a meeting, an in-person meeting with the Tetra Tech staff who are working on the trading program, along with staff from MBI. Under the current conditions, that in-person meeting is really not conducive. So we're going to be doing it through Zoom. And that'll be something that'll set up in the fall sometime. So there's in the update I got from Dina, the Tetra Tech staff are putting together questions that they really need to get answered. Those are going to MBI, and then that'll kind of give them some heads up and ability to have those answers ready, so when we get together on that Zoom conference, we'll be able to knock through those questions, and they'll be able to move forward with the trading program or determine how the IPS tool fits in with that trading program. So there's a number of questions that need to be answered around that before next steps can be taken. So that process is moving forward. And then Qual 2 models, Tetra Tech is also the consultant on those, and they've been working, so they're doing updates to models for DRCW in Salt Creek and the East Branch. There's a new model being done for the West Branch because there had never been a model for the West Branch. And then for our part, for the Lower DuPage, there was a model for a segment of the river as part of a previous TMDL. We're getting that model done for the whole Lower DuPage watershed. So they've been working on the data inputs for that, and we should be able to start seeing some calibration runs sometime in the near future. So that project is also moving forward. So Hammel Woods, we've been talking about it for a long time, but we're finally getting really close to seeing this dam removed. which has been very exciting because as far as my career with the Conservation Foundation, we met with folks with the Forest Preserve back in the late 90s to talk about removing this dam. So pretty exciting to see it getting to this point, being so close. So the Forest Preserve District has received their Army Corps permit. So that kind of allowed them to put the project out for bid. They are still waiting on their DNR permit. So that will be kind of the final piece before they can actually go to construction. But the Forest Preserve District is reviewing bids currently. So they'll have a contractor selected, and then they'll get that approval done for that contract at their October 8th meeting. Along with the approval for that bid, for that contract, they'll also be approving the MOU that will have an agreement between the Lower DuPage River Watershed Coalition and the Forest Preserve District of Will County. So we've talked about this a number of times in the past. So it's a very similar memorandum of understanding that we had to pay for, where we paid for the feasibility study. So there's been some adjustments made to it to reflect this part of the project. I believe we even voted on this earlier this year, but wanted to bring it back up in front of membership one more time. So basically we'll be looking for an approval for the board to finalize the MOU with the Forest Preserve District, and what up to the amount that we have budgeted right now is $600,000. Right now it looks like the project should come in under that amount, but we want to make sure that there's flexibility for the Forest Preserve District. So we're going to leave that number in there, and that is going to cover all the construction costs as well as the project management costs that are for the Forest Preserve District, as they have a consultant who will do all that project oversight. So if there are any questions, I have my Q&A box open, so if anybody has questions, if you want to throw them in there. Otherwise, what I would like would be a motion for basically the motion that I have up on the screen, so approving the board to finalize the MOU with the Forest Preserve for construction costs and management up to that $600,000 budgeted amount. So I have a motion by Randy. Get a second. And I have a second by Lisa McNace. Okay. Watch my next polls. Okay. So if we can get everybody to vote on this motion. Okay. And I'll also record on here, we talked earlier, Andy is recusing himself from this vote, being part of the Forest Preserve District. All right, thank you, everybody. Okay, so the next piece on here is our NPDES permit renewals. Actually, the draft language has been, I think, pretty well approved or acknowledged by many of the dischargers. Stephen McCracken with the DRCW has really been leading this effort in these discussions. They've been having kind of had some group meetings with dischargers. So kind of updating even here to my slide, he has actually met with a number of the dischargers already, and a number of them have that draft language kind of working through their renewal process. So again, as your renewals come in, definitely please stay in touch with staff. Let me know, send me copies of that early draft that you get. We want to make sure that this draft, our special conditions language, is consistent with all of the treatment plants within the watershed. And with the way the renewal is working, which is a little different for Lower DuPage because several of our plants are already operating at 1. So we're going to keep that 1 extending into the future and continue some lower level fundings for those that are already doing phosphorus removal. But then we only have 2 plants within the Lower DuPage, Naperville, and Bolingbrook that are not doing phosphorus removal yet. And so that's where kind of the bulk of this language really lies in pushing out the implementation of that phosphorus removal out another permit cycle and continuing on with funding for stream projects. I'm going to turn things over to Leah, and she is going to go over our seasonal outreach materials. I know she had sent out some links to these things earlier, I believe in August, but we just want to make sure everybody's aware of what's been put together and kind of what our plans are going forward. So Leah, you're up.
Hi everyone. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Leah Rodberry, and I create the materials that you can share with your community to meet the education and outreach requirements in the MS4. And yes, as Jennifer said, for our fall materials, I did send out an email, but that is a smaller email list group. So if you want to be on that list that receives direct emails about just our outreach materials and reminders to use them, you can contact me and I'll put you on that list. So we've finished our fall materials and you can find those on our website. If you go to the members tab and then under that it's seasonal campaigns. And that'll take you to a screen that shows our different seasons, and then our new materials are under fall. And then on this page is where all the materials live for fall. And so we have blog posts, social media posts. This year we have a poster. And then if you scroll down, you'll see our past materials. And our topics for this year, for fall, it all has to do with leaf litter. But our blog topics are on enriching your soil with fall leaves and leaf mold. So we're talking about using leaf litter as a resource in our yards. And in this post, we specifically talk about leaf mold, which a lot of people don't know about, but it's if you set aside a space to make a little bin or put your leaves in a pile and let them degrade over time, what results in the next spring or summer is really great material to use in your gardens, and it maintains a lot of moisture. And then another blog is on how fall leaf collection protects our rivers and streams, and this talks about the study done in Madison, Wisconsin, and they had some really interesting findings. One of which was that I think it was 56% of the annual phosphorus in urban stormwater actually comes from leaf litter. And so that shows that leaf litter has a really big impact. And then they also showed that by collecting those leaves through you can do the community leaf pickup program, that hugely decreases the amount of phosphorus getting into the stormwater and then into rivers and streams. And then we're starting to incorporate more ecology into our resources because different people resonate with different messages. And so this is where do dragonflies go for the winter? And in here we relate how aquatic insects and water quality goes together. We know if we have a great diversity of different aquatic insects and fish, we know that we have healthy rivers and streams with great water quality. And then we've created a poster. So last year you might have seen this, where you leave your leaves matters. And it's just a really nice, vibrant, engaging way to talk about the leaf litter issue pretty quickly, talking about what the problems are, and then a few things about what people can do with their leaves. And in this year, we translated it to Spanish because we just want to reach as many people as we can. So this is geared towards Spanish speakers. We're hoping to do more materials in Spanish as well. And then we create social media posts to go along with those blogs, so they kind of follow the same topics and they can be shared together. For example, you could share one of these graphics on Facebook and then link to our blog. That's just one way to use it, but you could also put them in your newsletter, on your website, wherever you see fit. And our past materials are also on that same page. You just have to scroll down. They're still super relevant. So we talk about more about how leaf litter relates to water quality, how storm water leaches the phosphorus out of leaves and then through storm drains gets into local streams, and what impact that has, talking about specifically about algae and how that depletes oxygen in the water. And then more ways about how to use leaves as a resource, mulching it into your grass, adding it to your compost, things like that. And then we specifically talk a little bit about storm drains because that piece also relates to local flooding. So if those storm drains are full of leaves, you might have some flooding as a result of that. And if you haven't already, I encourage you and your communications people to like us on Facebook, because we share a bunch of things, but I think a great benefit of following us on Facebook, if you go to the next slide, is we share our materials. So it's a way to see how you could use these materials on social media, so you can take inspiration from that. You can copy and paste our captions if you want, or you can directly share using that share button and share that to your own pages. And then we are working on our winter campaign, which is Salt Smart, where we talk all about chlorides. But currently we have available our physical materials, which are salt scatter cups and bookmarks that have steps for residents to be Salt Smart. And you can contact Jennifer or I to put in your order and we will get those to you. And also feel free to visit saltsmart.org because we already have educational materials there if you're looking ahead to winter and want to get a head start. And also that's where you can find more information about our de-icing workshops. And should I talk about this or do you want to?
Yeah, I just realized that I took Wednesdays off instead of Mondays. It should be webinar Wednesdays.
Yes.
But go ahead, Leah.
So for the Conservation Foundation, at the beginning, we were doing webinars on Mondays and Wednesdays. Now, we're doing them twice a week. Now they are on Wednesdays. So each Wednesday we come out with a webinar that people can watch live, but we also record those webinars and then upload them to our YouTube page. So if you go to YouTube, search the Conservation Foundation, those videos will pop up. We also have a specific playlist where you can find all those webinars. And some of them are specific about water quality. And you can see that second one is about rain gardens and rain barrels. And these are another great resource that you can share with your residents.
Thank you, Leah. And so Leah mentioned, go into saltsmart.org for information about the de-icing workshops. So the registration links are open. If you go to saltsmart.org, and then there's a button up on the top right corner that says workshops, and there's information to register for each of the workshops. So we have the public roads on October 1st and October 14th. Those are both the same workshop, just offered on 2 different dates to provide some flexibility. And then we have the parking lots and sidewalks workshop on October 8th. And these are they're done by Fortin Consulting, who's done them for us in the past, just in a virtual setting. So they are live workshops. There'll be ability to ask questions and interact, but in a format that we can keep everybody safe. One thing that's really different this year is that instead of paying a registration fee for each of your staff attending the workshop, it's just a single flat registration fee per workshop. So if you wanted to participate in both like the October 1st and the 14th, and you'd have to register for both of them. But if you were able to get all of your staff to participate at the same time, you can just pay the $40 and be able to share that link with all of your staff. So once you register, you'll get a link for the workshop. So this really is a great year to get as many of your staff trained. And whether you do it, if you need to split it between the 2 days, sign up for both of the public roads one. You can share links, particularly for the parking lots and sidewalks with your park district or school district, or any private de-icing companies, snowplow companies that maybe your organization contracts with, to really get the word out, because this is definitely a very inexpensive way to get all of your staff trained this year. And we're really going to be pushing for 100% participation from all of our members within the lower DuPage. Registration is very straightforward. It's all online through Eventbrite, and then you'll get those links emailed back to you. If you need to register via if you need an invoice, you can contact Nancy. There's information online about that as well. But Nancy Sonano on our staff can assist with that. And then for those staff that could use the professional development hours, we'll just send out certificates as requested for that, because we've passed those out in the past. If there's anything else to say about the workshops other than really help us get the word out, I can send out extra or just separate copies of these workshop flyers if people can use them. Actually, I can also have Leah put it up on the Salt Smart website, so you can just download it and be able to share it with folks. But definitely looking to get the word out to as broad of a reach as we can. And as you can see, we're hosting it. Normally we do our Will County workshop in conjunction with the Lower Des Plaines Watershed group. This year we're working kind of in conjunction, not only with the Lower Des Plaines, but also the DuPage River Salt Creek Work Group, the Conservation Foundation, and King County to host these 3 workshops. On the website, there is also a list of frequently asked questions, just the fact that these are a little bit different this year in just the way they're set up. So questions are there. I think the one other thing that I wanted to mention, like this is also a great opportunity to bring other staff who maybe wouldn't normally attend the workshop. So, your administrative staff who answer the phones when people call to complain about what's going on during a storm. This training gives a lot of really good background information that may be helpful in answering those questions, or to get some of your upper management or offer it to your, your municipal leaders, your elected officials to participate as well. Since, like I said, that one registration fee, and then you can open it up to any of your staff. We will have some polling going on during that time just to try and get an idea of how many people are participating, because we do report those things in the MS4 report at the end of the year. So we'll try and track it that way. Again, it's a great year to get staff trained. I think the last update I had was this year from an organizational standpoint. This year was the first year that we've done an outside audit. And so Nancy Sanal on our staff worked through that with the accountants, and everything went well. We got our tax returns all completed, but for the first audit, everything went pretty smoothly, and I think we should have the final audit document and the 990s posted to the website soon. So I think that is it for our agenda. if there are any other comments or questions, you can put those in the comment box. I can also turn on people's microphones if anybody has anything else to share. Okay, seeing no questions out there. That pretty much wraps up our September meeting. So thank you for joining us. We're able to keep things pretty straightforward. The hope is for our next meeting in November that we'll actually have a list of potential projects that are coming out of that IPS tool once kind of get through all the review and everything is finalized. Working on some of that with Stephen, and we'll have some projects to start looking at going forward as part of the implementation of our special condition funds. So that'll be the next steps as we kind of have the Hammel Woods one moving forward for the most part, and we can start looking forward to the next set of projects. Great. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.